YouTube. Today we're looking at Joachim Andersen's Opus 41, number 13, the Allegretto. And the key to making this one work, I think, is lightness of fingers and lightness of sound as well. This is a very delicate one and we don't want it to get too bogged down. So we're going to talk about some ways to work on that. The first thing that I work on in terms of fingerings with this one is using both the thumb B flat and the long 1-on-1 B flat. This one is in the key of B flat major. It doesn't stray very far, so it's an excellent choice for the thumb B flat, which would be my performance choice. So why bother to practice the long 1-on-1 B flat? Well, there are times when you have to use the 1-on-1 B flat, and it introduces this opposite motion in fingering, which can become a little clumsy, which is why it's a little bit more difficult to manage. But there are keys in which you need to do that. For example, the key of G flat major, where we have a C flat as well as high G flat, where we can't use the thumb B flat. So it's good to work on that 1-on-1 B flat just so that when you have to use it, it is nice and clean and those opposite finger motions don't get the best of you. So take some time working on the long B flat as well as thumb B flat. So that's the long 1-on-1 B flat. My performance was using the thumb B flat fingering. The next thing to think about is evenness of fingerings. That's going to help keep this nice and light and agile. And I think the biggest thing to think about to help your fingers play evenly is your right hand. Some of us tend to get into a rocking motion with the right hand, where when we move, especially from one extreme to the other, from finger 1 to finger 3, the right hand can start to move back and forth. That's going to make your technique a lot more cumbersome, and that's going to cause you to slow down. So what you want to be very careful of, particularly for example in measure 32 when we have F natural to F sharp, is that it's not the hand making that fingering change, but it's truly just those fingers dropping down into place. So that we're not introducing any excess motion on the flute. And then finally, lightness of sound. If your sound gets too heavy, that's going to bog down the fingerings and the tempo as well. So I start practicing this one by practicing just a simple B flat scale. And if you look from the beginning, at the first note of each measure, it goes through really most of a descending scale. So that's how I start practicing to achieve the tone that I want. And then I try to take that tone and bleed it into the notes that are written. Going back and forth between them as I just did really helps to ensure that that same light tone works its way into my faster technique with those scale passages. So I hope you enjoy working on this Etude. I hope you get a lot out of it. I hope that you like my channel so that you can see the next one, and we'll see you next time. Happy fluting.